Welcome to Messin with Matt, the cooking show where I will teach you how to impress your friends on study breaks, at parties, or if you're just looking for a good home-cooked meal. This week, I'm going to show you how to make Jello shot cake. For Jello shot cake, you will need a white cake mix, and my cake mix calls for eggs, oil, and water. To grease the pan, you're going to need all vegetable shortening and flour, or if you want to be fast about it, you can just use a cooking spray. Jello, and your choice, it doesn't matter the flavor, and Cool Whip. For this week's secret college ingredient, you're going to need vodka or rum, and I prefer the flavored for this. Let's get started. You go ahead and you mix your cake mix with its ingredients. Take your eggs, you've got 3 eggs in my recipe. And I definitely recommend using white cake mix instead of the yellow because it helps you taste the flavor of the Jello better. So this calls for a 1/3 cup of oil. Pour that in, and a whole cup of water. Go ahead, and you're gonna like pre-blend your cake mix. So go ahead, you kind of get in there, that real quick. So you get it to about that consistency, and then you can go ahead and grab out your mixer. And this usually takes about 2 minutes. So. Alright, so there's your cake batter, and it should look like that, nice, smooth. Make sure you mix it up again, make sure everything's mixed in all good. And you can put that aside. Grab out your baking dish. Again, 9x13 pan. Take this, and this is the fun way. You have to get nice and messy and all types of fun right here. Or, like I said, you can just spray it really fast. But, for those of us that like to have a little bit of fun in the kitchen, go ahead, you're gonna grease this up nice and good. Okay, there you go. And then, so now that it's nice and greased, take some flour. You go ahead, you sprinkle a little bit in there. I always recommend doing this over the sink so that way you don't get flour all over the kitchen, but go ahead, make sure you get it all nice and coated. Pop it out. There you go. There's a nice coated pan. You go ahead and you dump your cake batter into the pan. But so then you go ahead and you spread it out evenly, pushing it towards the outside because it always falls towards the middle. So make sure you push all of your batter more towards the outside of the pan than the middle of the pan. There is your cake. Make sure you had your oven preset to 350. That looks like even, and you can go ahead and you can put it in. After your half-hour bake time, you can go ahead and you can pull out your cake. The way to tell if your cake is done is you go ahead and you look around the edges, and if it's pulled away, then you know that your cake's ready. So you go ahead, you take it out, and you're gonna flip it onto a pan to let it cool off a little bit before you put it in the fridge. Now don't rinse your pan yet because you're still gonna need it, but just put that aside for now. And you're gonna, so that's your cake. You flip it upside down, and you're gonna set that aside while we work on the Jello. To make the Jello, you're going to need 1 cup of hot water, and then your package of Jello. And you stir that till it's all dissolved. Now I used the blackberry fusion today. Again, you can use any flavor. I've done watermelon, which actually makes the cake taste like a Jolly Rancher. You can do orange for Halloween, that's coming up, or you could do like a blueberry and a strawberry during the summer, again for 4th of July. It's a great, Jello cake is a great summertime birthday cake because it's cold, it's refreshing, and people really enjoy it during the hotter times of the year. Go ahead and make sure that's all mixed. Okay, so once your Jello is pretty much all dissolved, you're going to take a 1/2 cup of cold water. The recipe usually calls for cold water. But you can substitute out cold water for a half cup of your favorite vodka or rum. So that's what we're gonna do today because it's my birthday. Oh, and again, you know, put rum into your cake for somebody's 21st birthday. I mean, that's like, who can ask for anything better but, you know, a Jello shot cake for their 21st birthday. You go ahead, you dump that in. You mix that together a little bit. So now that we've let our cake cool off a little bit, I mean, it doesn't really have to be cooled off because you're putting hot Jello in it anyway. You take your pan, it's cooled off, so go ahead, put that back in there. And now you take a fork, and you're gonna go to town poking holes in the top of it, because what you wanna do is you're gonna pour the Jello on top of the cake, so that way it gets soaked into the cake, but you wanna make sure it has some opening to get into. So there you go. Take your Jello, and then pour it over. And now as you're pouring, make sure you get it in all those holes that you put onto the cake. Try to get it onto the cake as much as possible. Make sure you get the edges, you know, don't be tipping people out on stuff. Make sure you get your entire cake. Cover all the edges, all the middle. Alright, so you go ahead and you put that in the fridge. But it takes about 3 hours for the Jello and everything to cool off and set. So do at least 3 hours inside the fridge. So this is something you might have to prep the night before, the morning before, you know. But then you go ahead and take your Cool Whip, just a regular, you know, 8-ounce thing of Cool Whip. I prefer using the extra creamy Cool Whip just because, you know, again, gives it always the better flavor. You can put all the Cool Whip on, or you can use some, save, put it aside, and decorate with it. You go ahead, give everybody a nice, even coating of some Cool Whip. And that is your Jello cake. Cheers! What? That is Jello cake.